All right, we've started to look at how energy in the form of chemical energy is found in food. And we've seen so far that we normally measure energy in terms of joules, but an older version of the units of energy was a thing called a calorie. Now this has come into a lot of misuse by society, as things tend to be, and it joins the kilogram as a misused unit. We all know the kilogram is mass, but you ask most people in society and they refer to it as a weight, which is a different thing totally. Calories are also simply non-existent things that is a measure of the energy in our food. Please don't think it's actual little things, little particles or whatever that we find in our food. I'm afraid some people do think that. All right, so let's look at it. We know that chemical energy is found in food, and we have a thing called respiration. Now, for those who have forgotten respiration, I hope it's not many of you, we should realise that respiration is glucose plus oxygen, that's oxygen gas, making carbon dioxide and water vapour. I'm just going to write as water. Alright, and this process is called respiration. It is the reverse of the process we probably know as photosynthesis. Respiration takes high energy things, this is a high energy compound, and these things are low energy. So this is low energy too. So it converts high energy to low energy. And the thing that actually has this is the bonding between the particles. So when we're going through this, again, I'm going to remind you that the old-fashioned unit was the calorie, and we still use it. People tend to use units old and new, depending upon the circumstance. Now, most of the time we are looking at energy in our science course, we are going to refer to joules. And there is, of course, a conversion rate, that 4186 joules for every calorie. And that will be given to you on your data at the start of any test, and hopefully I'll remember to put it on your worksheets. Right, yeah, this is the really fun part. We actually have on the side of packets of food when we buy them an indication of how much energy they supposedly contain. Now, in lots of ways this is an average, because we can't guarantee that all food will be identical. Even from the same animal or plant, there can be slight differences. So we actually use a thing called a bomb calorimeter. And what we do is we basically burn the fuel, a fixed mass of fuel, inside something, and we allow the heat to be transferred to water, and we look at the change in the temperature of the water to work out, to calculate the amount of energy that was released by burning it. Now that, of course, relies upon the fact that all of the fuel, or food if you like, is burnt, and all of the energy is released, and more importantly, all the energy is able to be measured. More about that later. Right, so what they can actually do is come up with some average values. Now, people in food chemistry and food science do this, and they explode away the bomb calorimeters and they make up these numbers, and this is what we end up seeing. There is a huge list. Here is a short list here, and we're going to use this information both today in this lecture and also in the worksheet that comes with it. You'll see there's obvious things on the way through, and there's a surprising amount of energy in certain objects. I will let you to look at that as you go through. Now notice that this is in terms of kilocalories per gram of food. So we've compared it per gram, and that is normally the best way of doing it, even though you probably learned last year in year 8 that food can also be compared per serving, and that is normally 100 grams of things. So let's have a look at it. We're going to look at these things, and I'll put the numbers here. Typically, this is the best way of doing it. This is good practice, to have information at the side and work out what's going on. So let's have a look. We've gone a Big Mac. Now this is not quite going to be totally correct, but it's close enough. And what we've done is we're going to measure this as we go through, and we're going to use the values from the chart to make a calculation. Alright, so let's look at it. I'll put all the values here so we don't have to go constantly move between pages. So energy is equal to energy in food times mass of food. Now it asks us to convert to joules. We'll do that second. So the energy in food, as we see here, is 1.63 kilocalories per gram. That's 1.63. And if we multiply that, I'm going to use little crosses because otherwise we get confused. There are 240 grams in one of these. So if I do the sums on that, 240 times 1.63 equals 391.2 kilocalories. Now this, if you think about 1,000 calories, is a kcal. So each one of those is in corresponds, each calorie corresponds to 4186 joules. So energy in joules is going to be equal to the calories or kilocalories times the conversion rate. And if we look at that, we end up with 1,637,563.2 joules. Now, I've said to you a good option is to always use things like the prefixes like kilo and mega and things like that. Now, mega is a million, so I know that's going to be better for me. So I'm going to convert that to megajoules, and that's going to be 1.64, capital M for mega, capital J for joules. Nice, simple calculations. But this is handy to know when we are doing things. All right, let's move on. Now, I've still got that value, which is good. It tells us here, according to this article, that boys require 11,731 joules per day. This seems a very low number, Mr. Carson. I wonder whether you copied this down right, or whether they copied this down right. I think this number is wrong. I think it should be kilojoules per day. From memory, it is kilojoules because 11 kilojoules is not very much at all. So I think that should be kilojoules. I think I might have typed it in, so we're going to change that. So it says how much between boys energy required, so percentage of energy requirement, and we're going to assume that my second thing is the correct answer, is if they require this much and this much in should be kj, then we're going to have 11721 kj look. So our percentage requirement is going to be goodness gracious me, I'm trying to rush through it now, and I'm sort of finding it tougher. So don't rush. Is equal to how much we had. Oh goodness, my phone went off. Is 1637 kilojoules divided by 11721 kilojoules times 100, of course, get percentage it. So just doing the calculation, 1637 divided by 11,721 equals 13.9%. That sounds about right. So if you have a hamburger, you are taking in 13, almost 15% or 14% of your daily requirement of energy. That's just for, by the way, when you're doing this, your body needs energy to maintain itself, to repair itself, and to grow new cells. So growth as well. Right, so we've got about 13.9. Now, I've got to remember what the girls is as we go through. It asks us then to look at what the girls is. And so we would do the same thing. What was it? 1637. And the girls is 9,000. I'm going to use 9,000 because I can't see the values. I don't have them with me. Times 100. Oops. Again, rushing. Don't rush calculations. Good lesson for you from my mistakes. All right. 1637 divided by, it was 9,000. I cannot remember the numbers with it, so I'm going to treat it as 9,000. And it's going to be approximately 18.2%. Right? So generally we find this is because boys tend to have a larger body mass than girls, and that's why they require more energy. All right, moving on. Now, if we can do it for food, then there are people who go around and actually work out how much an activity is going to require in terms of energy. So it has a list of a dozen activities here. There is a complete list, I'm sure. So we're going to use that list to tell us what's going on. So how many food calories do I need to sit through my science class? So we know the science class is, again, I put the values in. So we've got the science class is 70 minutes, and I use 3 kilocalories per minute. So energy just to sit equals the activity times time. And so we've got 3 kilocalories times 70 minutes, it's per minute, so 210 kilocalories of energy are required. Now, if I had have asked you to do that into joules, you would then multiply 210 times 4186, and that would give you the number of joules. Relatively easy calculations at this stage. Right, one more, let's look at a harder one. A person has a diet of 50 grams, or rather, a person has a meal, 50 grams of grapes and 50 grams of roasted nuts. Right, that's their snack they're having. So, and then she uses the energy to climb stairs. So according to the information, how long can she do it for? So we've got the information here. We can see there's all the information that goes with it. So let's work it out per bit. Energy in grapes is equal to 0.69 times 50. And that'll give me a number. I'll do that in a moment. Energy in nuts is equal to 5.73 times 50, and I'll do that as well. And notice that the nuts contain a bit more oil, and that is where they get their extra, why they have their extra amounts of energy in them. So it's 0.69 times 50, 34.5. Let's put the units in as we go, kilocalories. Now the second one is 5.73 times 50, 286.5 kilocalories. Therefore the energy, total energy she took in, total energy from snacks, $34.5 plus 286.5. Just double checking all this to make sure I get it right. So 321 kilocalories. That's how much energy was provided by her snack. And right, so now time for stairs is going to be equal to how much energy she's got, or how much energy she took in, versus the activity energy. So we've got 321 divided by 9.6 . So according to this, her snack gave her the energy for this many minutes. If she was just climbing stairs, that is how long she could do it. So this should be some nice simple examples for us to go through. Once you've had a go at these questions, you will see that it's not as difficult. Now, this is going to help us when we go through the whole idea of your body and the energy that goes into it and all these other things that happen. And when we do our BC task, you might like to actually include some of these calculations in your final report. Right, on that note, we're going to finish it. So I'll see you next lesson.